I'm Taha Khan, I'm the moderator. I do comedy YouTube videos and have generally just been about. I've done this panel a couple of times, moderated it. So that's me. I'm going to get you guys to introduce yourselves.
Well, I have now done this panel in 4 different countries.
Yes,
my name's Mac does it. I do, I guess, satirical commentary videos online. I talk about shit for a living, so yeah.
My name's Gabriel Say. I have a fitness and family channel, started off as fitness, had a child, so introduced more family stuff, and I want to represent black dads in a positive way.
Yeah.
That's what I'm clicking, yes.
Hi, my name is Shanette Carlio. I make straight talking videos. I also do like hair, fashion, and just like positive videos for females, kind of uplifting and empowering them.
Hi, I'm Michelle Elvin. I'm known as Scar Not Scared online because I talk about surgery scars. I also talk about body positivity, body confidence, and I'm a life coach and author of Am I Ugly?
Hi, my name is Ray. I'm a Filipino filmmaker. Any Filipinos here?
Oh, the one. Yes, get the one in there.
Yeah. And well, like, the most relevant thing to this panel that I do is I produce a show for YouTube about food from different cultures and the stories and history behind those dishes.
All right, so kind of.
Yeah. You know, we have this space to speak about this. So I think it's really important. And I realise that we've been invited and welcomed and warmed, is that a word? Or feeling warm to, it's like, because like...
Being invited and welcomed are 2 different things.
Exactly. And I just feel like, I have been to like events like this, and it's not just this event, I have been to events like this before. And it's like you look around and literally like you're the only person of colour, and it just feels odd, like not to see people that are like you or even a little bit. So, and then also it's like, if we look at like stands, like we have the Black Creators Matter stand, that's like only stands that we have for us. Even like some of the creators that we might look up to, like they're not here, there's no meet and greets. Some of the discussions, like these are great, these panels are great now that we're here and we're able to share with not just amongst ourselves but other creators, so that they can like learn and understand. But I just feel like when you go, like when a lot of people that have come here, they probably said, okay, well, we're gonna go and see this person, we can go to this stand, we can go and do this. They can like, for people like us, I don't think there's as much here for us to, you know, kind of do and associate with and kind of understand. Do you get what I mean? Am I making sense?
It's a double-edged sword though, I think. I'm gonna...
Go ahead.
Because I also think that there's also not enough black creators on the platform. And there's some of the, like, I heard that last...
On YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, there could be more. There could be
I feel like there's loads of us. What are we seeing?
Yeah, there's a lot of us, but they're not really seen. I always tell people that like YouTube is so focused, and YouTube and all these conventions are so focused on the idea of representation, they totally miss over the idea of integration. Like there's a lot of like, oh, this is a representation panel. Oh, we have YouTube Black, yada, 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 but at the same time, it feels more segregated than integrated into actual like traditional programming of YouTube and all these other conventions.
Yeah, it's sometimes interesting to notice like, you're sometimes, especially at these events where like, if you're not white, sometimes you stick out like a sore thumb. If I see like a non-white creator who I don't know, I'm like, oh, like what panels are they on? And then you click on their thing and it's like, Black Girl Magic.
being black on YouTube.
You know what I mean? It's like so you can kind of see that if you like click around a little bit. So like I kind of go ahead.
But I also think in order for it to actually be inclusive, we can't just be put on panels for our diversity and for our representation. And if you go look at the gaming panel or whatever it was, if that's all white, then it's not a diverse event. And that's the same for every other panel that has gone on at this event, but every other event, is that there seems to be a trend of only hiring diverse or marginalized voices to talk about the diverse and marginalized issues. And it's actually one of the things which I've just, like in the last 2 weeks, and why I'm actually on this panel, was I've just gone viral for talking about being the only plus size Asian in the room all the time. I'm in the plus size community, in the fashion community, and I'm always the only Asian in the room. And so I spoke about that. I did an incredible shoot with Linda Blacker, who's in the audience.
Yeah.
And it went viral, and that's why the founder reached out to me. But it's this thing where I like speaking up and being the only one in the room is actually really hard when all the other people who aren't people of colour aren't joining me. And so I have, in fashion rooms, actually brought it up. And the PR person, there was one event where the PR person just stood there and said nothing. Like, she didn't say yes, no, or anything. So I just went, okay, well, bye. And just had to walk off, and I was like, but you're a PR person, that's your job. All I said was it'd be nice if I wasn't the only Asian in the room, and there was another woman there, and I was like, she's the only black person in the room. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it would be nice at the next event that we weren't the only ones. And I just don't think that should be a combative thing, that as with your stereotypes, sometimes you get put in this box of, I was being aggressive because I said that, when I could have said that in the nicest way possible, but it fits the stereotype that wanted to be painted onto me.
Yeah, great. As someone who's like a mixed race person, do you find that you want to talk about race, like race and ethnicity, and I don't want to say white organizers, but people who are not as familiar with like the complexities of race, like overlook mixed race?
Yes, so the reason why I think I actually have the opportunity to be in the room is because I am half white. And so that's why it comes with a huge amount of privilege. And I just got to the point at the beginning of this year where I was like, why am I not using this privilege to actually be like, is there a reason I'm the only Asian in the room? Because I'm only half. And so I started saying it, and it made people uncomfortable. But again, it's not my responsibility to control everyone else's reactions to what I'm saying.
I think, so just to add on to that, we were speaking earlier on another panel, and a white creator was in the room, and they actually asked like what they could do to help, support some of these issues that we was having. And one of the things that came up was, yeah, if you are like a white creator in the room, or you are even a black creator that is in a space where you feel like you're the only black person there, that you should use that opportunity to kind of speak up and say like, why aren't other races here? Why aren't other creators like me here? And like that's what I don't want to say allies, but that's what, like, if you're a white creator and you want to support the cause, you can also speak up, because unfortunately for us, we don't have the same privilege as you, and like people will probably listen to you more than they would to me, kind of thing. So I know it's an awkward thing to like talk about, but like it's literally happening. And based on the question of whether we feel welcome, we can only feel welcomed when we have that support from everybody, and we're included in everything, not just diverse panels and stands.
And the token.
And the token.
Panel.
Right.
I've done panels here for like, 3 years? Every single time I'm the token one. It was only today that it was me and Scholar on the panel.
And it's crazy because the thing is, we want to get past just our races, because we actually all are very talented here, and we do a range of things. So it's like, let's not talk about this. It's like really not important, but that is an important question, and that is something that is actually happening. So,
Great. Do you want to add something?
Can you just remind me of the original question?
I feel like you. Go ahead. Well, you are welcomed.
If I'm not seen as a brown, well, I'm not brown. When I'm in a body positive space, I do think sometimes I'm seen more as a scarred person. Like, I can't see them when I'm fully stressed, but because my username is Scar Not Scared, and I'm known for scars representation as well, if I'm not seen as that token, I'm this token, and I'm kind of convenient in the fact that I can kind of tick every box, but half tick every box. So like, I'm half white, I'm scarred, but you can't see my scars. Like, I'm not fully able-bodied, but I don't look visibly disabled.
Do you think it's like there's like a certain level of palatability?
Yeah, so I'm very privileged and also like marginalized, but in every box. So if I'm not one, it tends to be the other, and then you can never put your finger on it. So
Yeah. I know I'm the moderator, but I'm going to kind of like jump off on that of an experience that I've had, which is that there was a time where the type, like in UK YouTube, where things were very, very white. Like, for example, I'm not complaining, because I like this panel, but I have done this 4 times.
Wow.
But what it really boils down to is that the fact that like I am like quite palatable in the way that I've got this like soft-spoken British accent, you know, and you know the kind of the stereotypes that I'm like. I present very kind of like posh, so I can really swing a deal on the phone. I'm so sorry, but I think I'm going to be 10 minutes late to the restaurant. Do you think you can push back my? And they're like, oh, absolutely. But it's like, you know, if my dad was to pick up the phone, it'd be a different story. So I do feel that sort of like there is a certain palatability that.
I even got told one of the reasons I got my book deal is because my surname is white. So like, it is like, yeah. So it's like one of those things, you hear it all the time and you're just like, you roll your eyes, and that's where it's important to talk about mixed race issues as well, because like, it comes with a lot of privilege, but that would never be said. Like, and it's just a weird thing that I've never thought until someone said it.
Actually, quick little story. My sister went to an interview. She done the phone stuff. And you know, we have interview voices. I have mine as well. You know when you laugh, you know. And she went into the interview.
I can't.
She opened the door and she was like, "Oh, you're black."
Oh.
Straight back up. Huh? I was like, "Wow, okay."
Wow. I'm going to go to another question.
Wow.
Hi. Because I'm pretty good on this. Anyway, okay, basically people, I guess, watch people who look like them. So, I don't know, like, I'm a small-time creator. It's like, what can you really expect? Because it's in human nature that people do tend to naturally segregate themselves or see themselves in a creator. So I guess, you know, some of us are more popular than others. So like, what do you think it takes to kind of push through to get that main audience? You have to like be phenomenally, insanely, and crazily talented, whilst everybody else can be mediocre. Like, and I guess that's also the black tax concept, where you have to be twice as good.
You have to be Beyonce in order to get white people to like you. Yeah, I feel that. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I have no idea how to answer that question. I feel that, like, you have to be, like, as a black person, as a person of color in general, we have to be like 10 times better than a white person just to have a white person even look at us.
I actually think so. It's a tough one, because I actually found at one point. So I was in the fitness industry and I went to an event. There's an event called Body Power that happens every year, and I remember being on the stand with like I was hired by quite a big brand called Grenade. And back then, it didn't seem like black people were actually looking for black creators. Like, they would walk past me and they would look at me like this. And they all walk past me and go to the white guy at the end. I was like, yo. But it's only over the last like 4 years, it seems like there's more acceptance from our own. I'm not sure if that makes sense. That when I see people, I see people in the train station, and I say, probably the past year, everyone that I've met that says, I watch your channel, keep it up, they're all black people. So that, like, I feel like it is growing, and as that grows, then it just becomes more widespread. Because there's a guy called Chris Jones in America. He does fitness stuff as well, and he's pretty much the same. His audience is so diverse, but I think it started with dominating and having, like, being authentic enough for people that look like you to accept you, and then that's when the doors open.